Christmas Robin. It was cold, very cold, and snow lay thick on the ground. Mr. Robin searched in vain for food. He couldn't find any insects to eat because they were hiding away from the cold. He couldn't go digging for worms because the ground was too icy and hard. At last, cold and hungry, he gave up and flew back to his nest. Mrs. Robin was hungry too. "Is there anything for supper?" she asked. Mr. Robin shook his head. He tried to say no, but it came out as brrr. "Never mind," said Mrs. Robin cheerfully. "Perhaps we'll have better luck tomorrow." But the next day was even colder, and still Mr. Robin could find nothing to eat. Mr. Robin decided to search for food in the garden of a nearby house. Suddenly there was a noise from the house. With a tweet of alarm, Mr. Robin hid behind a snowman. Peeping round, he saw a window being opened. A hand scattered something on the window sill. Later that evening, when they were back in their nest, Mrs. Robin said, "Wouldn't our nest look lovely with some of that silver moss woven in among the twigs? Will you get some for me, dear?" Mr. Robin gulped. He was afraid that if he went into the house he might get caught, but he couldn't bear to disappoint Mrs. Robin. "Of course I will. I'll get some for you tomorrow," he said, trying to sound brave. "Now let's get some sleep." Next morning, Mr. Robin flew over to the window sill. There was no one in the room, and the window was open. He fluttered in and settled on a branch of the tree. Suddenly the door burst open, and into the room came 2 large people and 2 small ones. "Happy Christmas, Matthew and Charlotte," said the 2 large people. "Choose a present from the Christmas tree." Mr. Robin shivered with fright and tried to hide behind a cracker. The little person called Matthew asked for some sweets, but the one called Charlotte pointed to Mr. Robin and cried, "I want the toy robin!" "But I'm not a toy," thought Mr. Robin. "I'm a real, live robin." And just as a big hand reached up to lift him from the tree, he sprang to the top branch, threw back his head, and started to sing at the top of his voice. As he trilled and whistled and chirruped, the people clapped their hands. When he had finished his song, Mr. Robin flew out of the window and hopped down onto the window sill. Charlotte ran across the room. "Thank you, little Robin," she said, "for making this the best Christmas tree ever. Come and see us again." When Mrs. Robin heard what had happened, she forgot all about the tinsel. "As long as you're safe," she said, "that's all that matters." But 12 days after his adventure, Mr. Robin found the fir tree lying near the dustbins. Caught on its branches were some scraps of tinsel. Mr. Robin took them back to decorate the nest. Mrs. Robin was overjoyed. She had her silver moss after all.